Hello there everyone and welcome to a new review on the channel. And today we're looking at a brand new hot steaming product off the shelf, and that is the Thread of Life by Wardle and ALAKAZAM Magic. This hasn't really been marketed a lot or pushed out a lot, but I do think it's a very fun and cool effect, and one I think maybe passed under a lot of people's radars. So let's roll the intro and get straight into it. Perfect, so you decide to stick around, which means you want to learn more about the Thread of Life. So what is this effect? This effect is a spin on a classic tarot routine that is not a tarot match. Wow. Because it seems that tarot effects are usually all the same thing. They're all tarot matches or a tarot prediction, whereas this kind of pushes the envelope a bit different and kind of disguises its tarot nature as well. I think it's very interesting, it's very cool, and I think a performance is going to show you exactly what you need to know about this. So let's get into one. So you would introduce this from your pocket and you would come to your specter and say that, do you mind if we do a small reading with you, like a small tarot reading, but it's not really a tarot reading, it's a bit different. Do you mind if we do that? They're going to say no. So you're going to remove from here, from your little wallet, you're going to remove a set of cards, and you tell them that you may think these are tarot cards because they do look like the tarot cards. They have the same symbols as tarot cards, and some of them even have the same images, but they're not exactly tarot cards. They're a bit different. They're cards that represent certain emotions in certain places and certain times in our life that represent us. For example, time is a commodity that we all seek. We all wanted more time or a bit less time, and we all think about what we're going to do with our time. We have a how are you rated card, which is a card you don't hear a lot, and an expression that may not come to you obviously about what is this. This is how people perceive you, your self-perception of yourself, how you feel people think about you, the way they interpret you as a person. The hatred card, one that some people may immediately kind of push to the side because it's a negative connotation, but it's not. Hatred represents passion. If you hate something, it's because you probably love something even more. You have an attachment for something else, a passion for something else, which creates your hatred toward another thing. It's not necessarily a negative card. It's a card that can also represent the passion that you have for something else. The Thread of Life card, which represents the start, the end point of your life, and everything in between. A very interesting card at that. The Death card, one similar to the hatred, one that a lot of people may disconcert and say, oh, that's not for me. But the Death card represents new beginning. The death of something is the rebirth of something new. And the last card is Love, similar to hatred, a card with passion, a card about heart, about emotions, about connections. All of these cards represent a certain person's time in their life, something that they're seeking, something that they're feeling, or something that they're questioning about. So what I'm going to ask you I'm going to ask you to think about any of these, and don't feel that I've placed the hatred and death there to sway your decision. You can go for those cards. No one is going to judge you. It's a fully free choice. Which card do you want to go for? What card do you feel represents you at this point in your life the most? And the spectator is going to do their choice. Let's say they say the rated cards. They say the how are you rated card you feel is the one that represents you the most in your life. And that's very interesting because, as we said, that's a card about how you feel people interpret you. But what's even more interesting is that all of these cards also reflect on that card. For example, the time card. When you were younger, you felt differently about yourself. When you were an adolescent, you felt differently. You felt maybe people were more receptive, not receptive. Maybe right now, you feel differently to how you felt before. They represent different times in your life, and your perception of yourself and of others of you also changes. The hatred card. Maybe at one point in your life, you hated the way you looked, or you felt that everyone hated you, but that was not the reality. You were actually loved, but you didn't feel it. Maybe you needed more affection. Maybe you needed more love, but you were never at that point that you felt that you were truly hated. And that one represents as well the same thing as the card you selected. The Thread of Life. Again, in the Thread of Life, from our start point in our life to our end point, we will always feel that some people treat us differently or interpret us differently than we actually feel ourselves. And that is completely fine. Then you have the Death card. Again, a new beginning. Maybe you've changed. Maybe you feel you've been changed as a person, which also made other people see you differently. And that's what you select it with your card. And the last one is love. Love is, well, essentially the card that represents you, represents what you feel you should have wanted to feel. That's what everyone seeks from everyone else, is love and compassion. And the thing is, you could have chosen any of these cards, correct? But you were always destined to choose the How Are You Rated card. Because from the start, the cards have been on the table the entire time. I gave you a reading with these cards that I hope means something for you. But there was always a bit more than that, because I knew you were going to choose that specific card, because on the back of all the other cards, there was only one outcome that was possible to be chosen by you. And that is, of course, the rated card for the How Are You Rated. Just like that. I hope that gets picked up on camera. If not, let me just hold it just like this. I'm going to place it like this. I hope you guys can see it. But it does spell out rated on the back of the cards. Okay? So I hope you guys saw that and you can still see it. But that is essentially the effect. I hope that you enjoyed. It's hard to give a reading to someone that doesn't exist in the room with you. So I hope I did my best to portray that. But that is essentially what this effect is. So now that you know what it is, let's talk about what you get, where do you buy this, how much does it cost, and all the goodies. So you can buy this exclusively as of now from ALAKAZAM Magic. It will set you back around 35-ish pounds, 40 something US dollars, which is around 50 Canadian, 55 depending on the exchange rate. And what you get is this box. Inside of this box, you're going to get an instruction code, which is going to bring you to a 40-minute tutorial with Wayne Goodman, in which he teaches you everything that you need to know about this cards. Everything that you need to know. He explains it beautifully. You understand everything about this trick. Then what you get is this wallet. You get this beautiful vegan leather wallet with like linen inside. It is extremely classy, extremely beautiful. You get this provided to you. And then you also get your cards. These are kind of like tarot cards. They're on tarot stock, but the images are different. The colors are different. The meanings are different, which kind of changes the way of most tarot effects. As I mentioned at the start, my favorite tarot effect is, of course, the Oracle system by Ben Seidman. But a lot of the other tarot effects that are coming out on the market are all the same. It's all kind of a match effect or a prediction effect where free choice is predetermined, kind of like this one. But I feel this one distances itself from that in its uniqueness of presentation and reveal, where you reveal a letter reveal of what they chose, which I think is very nice. So now that you know everything that you get, let's talk about difficulty. So how difficult it is to perform. This is not very difficult to perform, but it will take some practice. And what I mean by that is that you need to learn what every single one of these cards mean. You need to learn how to connect them when you do the reading at the end. And you also need a bit of memory work to make sure that you get the reveal that you need and that you are in the position that you need in order to reveal the end of the trick, okay? So there is a bit of memory work. It is an easy effect because there's no slides, but I would say I would put it in intermediate. Even though it's easy, I think that the script you have to learn, giving a reading to someone is not for everyone. Some people have never given readings, so it's going to be difficult for them. So I wouldn't place this as easy. I'd say it's intermediate, even though there's no sleight of hand. There's some memory work. There's some readings that have to be done. You have to really play out the reveal, and you have to be able to answer any questions regarding tarot cards. Or if you do this routine, maybe people are going to open up to you and you're going to have to answer some other questions. So you really do have to keep that in mind. It's not difficult, but it is something that will require a bit of chops and a bit of performance style. Now let's talk about practicality. So what is the practicality of this effect? Well, to carry this around, all you have to do is just this. You open your wallet, you place the cards inside of the wallet, just like this, and that's all you need to carry around. So you can literally place this inside of a jacket pocket. You can even place this inside your jeans pocket if you want, or your pants pocket, and carry this around with you at any point you want. This is all that you need to carry around to do this routine. Everything is self-contained. In terms of angles, the angles of this routine, I would say, are 180 to 360. If you do this to just one spectator, I'd say even if he looks to the side or under the table or anything, he won't see anything. But if you do this surrounded, I do think you have to be a bit more wary of certain things, but nothing too difficult. In terms of inspectability, it is not fully inspectable. I mean, it is in certain scenarios, but it is not in certain others. So for example, If you're doing certain endings, which is what I'm going to say, it is inspectable. For certain others, it is not inspectable. In our case, the how are you rated reveal is not fully inspectable. Most of it is, but not all. That's all I'm going to say, but you have to be careful about that. In terms of reset, it is an instant reset. You just take the cards, place them in the wallet, you're reset. In terms of repeatability, it is truly a freely chosen card. So you can repeat this at a gig. It's going to be different cards, and you only have 6 cards, right? So eventually, yes, they're going to repeat themselves, because if you do a routine where someone picks between 6, even if people say, oh, what'd you pick? Oh, I picked the same one. Oh, blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's 6 cards. It's normal that people are going to pick the same one. So eventually, so it doesn't really change anything. But yes, any card can be picked from the 6. There's no magician's force. There's no psychological force. There's no, oh, put your hands on 2, remove 1. Any card chosen will work for this. So apart from that, you need a table. You do need a table for this. You do not want to do this in the hands. For the reveal and everything, you do need a table for this effect as well. And yeah, that's pretty much all we can say about practicality. Now let's talk about where would you perform this. So where would you perform this effect? I think this is not for stage, parlor, or anything like that. It is very much a personal kind of casual effect. So something you would do on a one-on-one or at a small gathering or during a tarot reading or during something like that. It is something very personal. I feel it's not something you're going to do in a group of 20 people and you're just going to select one person and do it to them. Maybe if there's 2-3 people you can, but I won't do this in front of a crowd. So this really is something I feel is for more casual, personal performance styles and performances. This is not something you're going to go and you're going to do at every single table at a wedding with blasting music in the background. This is really something you want to do like in silence, in a good setting, to someone that really feels you need this, or someone that really is into what you're doing. I feel this is going to really push you a step forward. So now that we know all of that, what are the negatives and positives of this effect? Let's start out with the negatives. So what are the negatives? One of the negatives is, I feel, something that I can't shake off myself, even though my performances have a bit, but I really feel, or I felt, that the reveals and the way this routine was structured did not have an impressive outcome. And I know that's maybe me as a magician, because when I've performed this to people, I've performed this quite a few times already, people were floored and they loved this. And I think that it's hard to judge as a magician, because when you give someone a reading and you give someone some positive words, some positive attitude, and you show that this special moment was always predestined to happen just for them because of their choice, it has a different impact on them than to us as a performer. And I feel that even if you feel like me and you feel that the effect is not as strong, I think it is much stronger on the person you do it. And we will never be able to feel how strong this is if we're never on the receiving end. So I feel that's something that's just stuck in my mind. I can't get it out, but it is still, I think, for the specter, a good effect. But to me as a magician, it doesn't feel as impressive. That's all I'm going to say about the negatives. Apart from that, what is in the positives? 1, the wallet that you get is great. The cards are really well produced. The instructional video is good. The pattern behind this is good. The reveals are really ingenious. Any card can be selected. There's no forcing. It's truly any card. It's easy to do. It lets you practice your cold reading, your open reading, your Barnum statements, however you want to call it. It lets you practice that. It gives you a safe space to practice that as well, because you will always have the safety net of the reveal at the end. And it's a very unique trick in the tarot world. I feel it is very interesting. So having said that, would I recommend the Thread of Life, and what do I rate it out of 10? Would I recommend it? I think if you're into tarot magic and you're willing to put something new in your repertoire, I recommend it. If you're also a mentalist of the type of Louis Laval, which is really into like personal, kind of more emotional mentalism, then I feel this would also work in those scenarios. I mean, having a tarot reading that's not really a tarot reading could play really well. Like I imagine you doing something like from Louis Laval's repertoire, like AOK2, you give people some answers and you see that the person that was the most affected by the answer you gave, you're like, do you mind if we try something here with you? And you do this, they will never forget that night for the rest of their life because of the performance you did with this effect and the other one paired. So depending on your performance style, I think that I would recommend this. If you're like a card magician or a mentalist or that does like mostly tricks that don't revolve around tarot and readings, then yes, this is not for you. Do not buy this. But if you do like that realm, I think you're going to really like this. And I kind of really like this as well. So what do I rate it out of 10? I'm going to rate the Thread of Life an 8.5 on 10. It is very good. It is a good effect. It is fun to perform. And I think it does have its value. I do think it's a bit expensive for what you are getting, but it is something that will technically never really wear down on you as long as you don't destroy the cards yourself. You're going to have this for an extremely, extremely, extremely long time. And as the cards age, they're going to look even better as well. So yes, I do recommend it, 8.5 on 10, and that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing, and I'll see you all in my next reviews. Have a good one, stay safe, and bye-bye.